Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Padamahamsa Parivrajaka Jajashudara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Padamahamsa Parivrajaka Jajashudara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Foundacharya BBT Foundacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Go Premanandi all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories assembled devotees all glories CC Guru and Sri Gauranga. So we are starting a new chapter today. This is 9th canto, the Pastimes of the Supreme Lord, Sri Rāmacandra, texts 1 and 2. There's also a summary. We read the summary? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the summary is as follows. This 10th chapter describes how Lord Rāmacandra appeared in the dynasty of Mahārāja Daśaratha. It also describes the Lord's activities, telling how he killed Ravana and returned to Ayodhya, the capital of his kingdom. The son of Mahārāja Daśaratha was Dirghabhahu, and his son was Raghu, as in Raghunath. The son of Raghu was Aja, and the son of Aja was Dasaratha. The son of Dasaratha was Lord Rāmacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Lord descended into this world in his full quadruple expansion, as Lord Rāmacandra, Lakṣmaṇa, Bharata and Śatrughna, great sages like Valmiki, who were actually in knowledge of the Absolute Truth, described his transcendental pastimes. Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes these pastimes in brief. Lord Rāmacandra went with Vishwamitra and killed Rakshasas like Maricha. After breaking the stout and strong bow known as Haradhanu, who's Hara? Lord Shiva, yes. They got Hara Hari. Right. The Lord married Mother Sita and cut down the prestige of Parashuram. To obey the order of his father, he entered the forest accompanied by Lakṣmaṇa and Sita. There he cut off the nose of Surpanaka and killed the associates of Ravana, headed by Kara and Dushana. Ravana's kidnapping of Sita was the beginning of this demon's misfortune. When Maricha assumed the form of a golden deer, Lord Rāmacandra went to bring the deer to please Sita Devi, but in the meantime, Ravana took advantage of the Lord's absence to kidnap her. When Sita Devi was kidnapped, Lord Rāmacandra, accompanied by Lakṣmaṇa, searched for her throughout the forest. In the course of this search, they met Jatayu. It's interesting, I was listening to a lecture yesterday by His Holiness Prahlādananda Swami. It was on the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, but he's making the point before he began the class that that's one chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that has a description of something going on, and we should, in our mind's eye, try to picture what's being said. And he said, actually, that's true with all the pastimes in the Bhagavatam and everything. As you're hearing it in your mind's eye, start picturing it, and you actually make advancements. More so than just kind of glossing over, like when you're reading or something. That's the proper way to hear, is in your mind's eye, start seeing what you're hearing, especially when it comes to pastimes. So as we're reading these pastimes, start thinking about that golden deer. Start thinking about Surpanaka losing her nose. Start thinking about all these things, and actually the pastime enters into your heart, and you make a lot of advancement. How's that? So a little tip there. When Sita Devi was kidnapped, Lord Rāmacandra, accompanied by Lakṣmaṇa, searched for her throughout the forest. In the course of this search, they met Jatayu, when the Lord killed the demon Kabanda and the commander Vali and established a friendly relationship with Sugriva. After organizing the military strength of the monkeys and going with them to the shore of the sea, the Lord awaited the arrival of Samudra, the ocean personified. But when Samudra did not come, the Lord, the master of Samudra, became angry. Then Samudra came to the Lord with great haste and surrendered to him, wanting to help him in every way. The Lord then attempted to bridge the ocean, and with the help and advice of Bhishana, he attacked Ravana's capital, Lanka. Previously, Hanuman, the eternal servant of the Lord, had set fire to Lanka, and now, with the help of Lakṣmaṇa, the forces of Lord Rāmacandra killed all the Rakshasa soldiers. Lord Rāmacandra personally killed Ravana. Mandodari and the other wives lamented for Ravana, and in accordance with Lord Rāmachandra's order, Vibhishan performed the funeral ceremonies for all the dead in the family. That was a long list of names, I bet. Lord Rāmacandra then gave Vibhishan the right to rule Lanka and also granted him a long duration of life. The Lord delivered Sita Devi from the Ashok forest and carried her in a flower airplane to his capital Ayodhya, where he was received by his brother Bharata. When Lord Rāmacandra entered Ayodhya, Bharata brought his wooden shoes. Bibhishan and Sugriva held a whisk and fan. Hanuman carried an umbrella. Śatrughna carried the Lord's bow and 2 quivers, and Sita Devi carried a water pot containing water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan, Riksharaj, carried a shield. After Lord Rāmacandra, accompanied by Lord Lakṣmaṇa and Mother Sita, met his relatives, the great sage Vasishtha enthroned him as king. The chapter ends with a short description of Lord Rāmachandra's rule in Ayodhya. So, we'd have texts 1 and 2. 2 with this one we're going to chant together. Sri Shuka Uvacha Kadvanga Dirgavahuscha Ragus Tasmat Pritushrava, saintly and celebrated. That's a wonderful name for our godbrother, Pritushrava. Ajastata Mahārajas Tasmad Dasaratho Bhavat. Sukadeva Goswami said, the son of Maharaj Katvanga was Dirghabahu, and his son was the celebrated Mahārāja Raghu. From Mahārāja Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality Mahārāja Daśaratha. In today's verse, Tasyapi Bhagavan Esha Sakshad Brahmamayo Harihi Shamsena Chaturdhagat Pruttatvam Partitaha Surahi Rāma Lakṣmaṇa Bharata Śatrughna Iti Samgyaya. Excuse me. Drink of water here. Hare Krishna, oh boy. Tasyapi Bhagavanesha Sakshad Brahmamayo Harihi Asamsena Chaturdhagat Puttatvam Partita Surahi Rāma Lakṣmaṇa Bharata Śatrughna Iti Samgyaya. Tasyapi Bhagavanesha Sakshad Brahmamayo Harihi Asham Sena Chaturdhagat Putratvam Prartita Surai Rāma Lakṣmaṇa Bharata Śatrughna Iti Samgyaya. Anyone like to chant? Ladies? asamsena chaturdagat putratvam pratitasurai Rāma Lakṣmaṇa Bharata Śatrughna iti samgaya tasyapi bhagavanesha sakshad brahmamayo hari asamsena chaturdagat Rāma Lakṣmaṇa Bharata Śatrughna iti samgaya. Anyone online? Synonyms. Tasya, of him, Mahārāja Daśaratha. Api, also, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Esha, all of them. Sakshat, directly. Brahma Mayaha, the Supreme Brahman, the Absolute Truth. Harihi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Amsha, Amsena, by an expansion of a plenary portion. Chaturda, by fourfold expansions. Agat, accepted. Putratvam, sonhood. Prartitaha, being prayed for. Suraihi, by the demigods. Rāma, Lord Rāmacandra. Lakṣmaṇa, Lord Lakṣmaṇa. Bharata, Lord Bharata. Śatrughna, and Lord Śatrughna. Iti, thus, samgaya, by different names. For translation and purport, Srila Prabhupada. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names are Rāma, Lakṣmaṇa, Bharata, and Śatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in four forms as the sons of Mahārāja Daśaratha. Purport. Lord Rāmacandra and his brothers, Lakṣmaṇa, Bharata, and Śatrughna, are all Vishnu Tattva, not Jiva Tattva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into many, many forms. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam, Rāmasamhita 5:33. Although they are one and the same, Vishnu Tattva has many forms and incarnations, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 5:39. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan. The Lord is situated in many forms, such as Rāma, Lakṣmaṇa, Bharata, and Śatrughna, and these forms may exist in any part of His creation. All these forms exist permanently, eternally, as individual personalities of Godhead, and they resemble many candles, all equally powerful. That's a reference to Brahma Samhita, text 46. Lord Rāmacandra, Lakṣmaṇa, and Bharata, and Śatrughna, who, being Vishnu Tattva, are all equally powerful, became the sons of Mahārāja Daśaratha in response to the prayers by the demigods. Om Gyan Dimarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksulanminitam Dina Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siyadvaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the purport, Prabhupada's taking some time quoting the Brahma Samhita to affirm the fact that Ram, Lakṣmaṇa, Bharata, and Śatrughna are not Jiva Tattva. They're incarnations Vishnu Tattva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first verse he refers to from the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam Adya Purana Purusham Nava Yovanam Cha Vedesha dulabam adulabam atma bhakto govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning in the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. So the description of Vishnu Tattva, this Advaitam Achyutam Anadam Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. Go back a little bit here. Oops. Hare Krishna. Let me just back up. And then this 539, which mentions Lord Rāmacandra. Ramadi Motishu Kala Niyamina Tishtan Nandavataram Akarod Bhubaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Paramapamanyo Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifests himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rāma, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions. So, just making it emphatic that we should not think, as Prabhupada would sometimes say, unscrupulous commentators, that the pastimes of Lord Rāmacandra are just a mundane fiction and they're ordinary personalities. And therefore they can adjust them as they like. I was just talking to someone, maybe at a puja or something, and they asked me if I saw, there was a book or a movie that came out, and it's the pastimes of Lord Rāmacandra through the eyes of, I don't know, maybe Surpanaka or something like that. And they changed all kinds of things in the story. So you're not supposed to do that. Just artistic license. Just thought it'd be kind of nice to have a little spin on the Ramayana. So I said, you don't do that. These are transcendental pastimes of the Lord meant for deliverance of the fallen souls. And they're perfect and complete as they are. Now, in the purport, the last line of the purport, and of course the first line of the translation, about being prayed for by the demigods. Now, and this caught my attention because in the prayers by Queen Kunti, there's a few verses here where she starts discussing, why is it that Krishna comes to this material world? Because Kechit Ahu begins with the first verse we're going to read. This is chapter 8, starting with text 32. Let me open it up here. And she's right there with Krishna, glorifying Krishna. And then she's saying that gives a few reasons why the Supreme Personality comes to this material world. One, of course, will be this being prayed for by the demigods, and we'll discuss a little bit about the reasons leading up to the demigods being so hopeful for the appearance of the Lord to do something about Ravana. What does Ravana's name mean? Do you know, Naveen? Ravana, that name. When you get initiated, would you like the name Ravana? Probably not. It probably has something negative, right? The connotations. What does it mean?
Ravage. I only remember him saying ravenous.
Also, it means one who makes others cry. Would you like a name like that? Hey, here comes Ravana. Just like that. So it says, I'll read the English here. This Kechirahur Ajam Jatam. Some say, this is the Kechit, someone, and of course these are great authorities, not just the Joe Kumar on the sidewalk and they're interviewing him or something like that. No, these are great sages. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings. Now we see that here in this pastime we just read. Lord Rāmacandra appeared in the family, son of Mahārāja Daśaratha. He's known as Raghunath, and that was just back another generation or so, Raghu. So he appeared, just as Krishna appeared in the dynasty of the Yadus, so he appears at the glorification of pious kings. And others say that he was born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. This is the example she gives, that sandalwood can appear anywhere, but it's very much connected with the Malaya hills. So the Lord appears in particular families for a particular reason. And it says, others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. So here it is, someone prays, and then he takes his birth. Krishna is actually attracted very much by the prayers of his devotees and makes his appearance. In the pastimes of Lord Rāmacandra, Suresh, you want a question? No. Okay, he's an honest man. Okay. So in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, whose prayers dragged Lord Chaitanya out of the spiritual world? Do you know an answer to that, Naveen? Okay. Advaita. Yes, Advaita Chanda by his prayers. He actually says he dragged Lord Chaitanya right out of the spiritual world. How powerful prayer is. Undoubtedly you are unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. So we see that in all the Lord's pastimes, to deliver the devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. Actually, I want to back up a little bit here. In the very beginning of the purport to 32, I want to read a little bit here. Because the Lord's appearance in this material world is bewildering, there are different opinions about the birth of the unborn. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said he takes his birth in the material world, although he is the Lord of all creations, and he's unborn. So how can you take birth if you're unborn? So it's bewildering. So there cannot be any denial of the birth of the unborn because he himself establishes the truth. But still there are different opinions as to why he takes his birth. This is also declared in the Bhagavad Gita. He appears by his own internal potency to reestablish the principles of religion and to protect the pious and to annihilate the impious. That is the mission of the appearance of the unborn. So, different religious traditions, they mention that great saintly persons have come as sons and daughters and children of God, but the understanding of the different avatars, I think that's unique to the Vedic culture, isn't it? To understand that the Supreme Personality himself or his direct expansions, they actually come into the material world and they're all over the place, right? Right now, Krishna's lifting Govardhan Hill somewhere. Right now, Lord Chaitanya is having the kirtan in Srivasanga. And every single pastime is going on right now. So it's not just, it's amazing that Lord Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, or Lord Chaitanya 500. It's actually happening, every single pastime is happening right now. It's called the Eternal Roadshow. That's opulence. That's Krishna's kindness and mercy. It just never stops. He's always exhibiting his pastimes, his different, all kinds of incarnations, as unlimited as the waves in the ocean. So text 34, others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. And once again, here's prayers of the demigods of Lord Brahma. Please come and save Mother Earth. And the last one I'm going to read is text 35. And yet others say you appeared to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, and worshiping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. In the purport to this text 35, Srila Prabhupada is elaborating how this is the real reason for Krishna's coming to this material world, is to deliver the fallen souls by giving us his revealing his different pastimes, so we can glorify and remember and hear him, and in this way obtain release from this material energy. Now, as far as I'll discuss a little about Lord Rāmacandra and why the demigods were praying for him to come. And this is described in the beginning of the Ramayana, and I was just checking this in the Krishna Dharma's book that we helped publish. And there's some instances related there that, when someone becomes a problem, and then they become a real problem, you got to do something about it, right? That's management. So Krishna's managing the material world, and the material world is problematic by nature, but then, and there's always suras and asuras, they're always there, but then sometimes things get out of hand because the nature of the material world is one living entity is trying to exploit another, and then you get very, very powerful materialists, and they start making very big problems on a universal scale. Let me have like Hiranyakashipu and so on. Of course, those are different in the sense they are orchestrated by the Lord, and that's a whole other topic. But still, things can get to the point where someone better do something about it, right? We'll have that experience in our life. Sometimes a little problem, it's like the faucet. It drips. Then all of a sudden it drips a lot. And then there's a big, you better call Suresh. Fix the sink, right? Whatever it is, it's like it's too much. It's just too much. So whatever it might be, there's so many problems, and some of them are causing a lot of pain to people and living entities and so on. So who's going to come and fix all of this? So as far as Ravana, it describes that one thing he enjoyed doing, he and his friends, just like what they call them, juvenile delinquents. They cruise around, get in trouble, doing different things. So as Rakshasas, being true to spirit, they would fly around and see sages. They'd see the smoke rising from the forest because sages are there engaging in Agnihotra and chanting mantras and so on. And for fun, they would, by their mystic power, create a shower of stool, pus, and urine to put out their fires, their yagyas. Just like today is Shatya Lakadasi. And it's recommended today that you make little balls made of cotton, cow dung, and sesame seeds. Roll up 108 of them, dry them, and have a fire yagya. So, Mapati, when are you going to do that today? You have it on your schedule? And I don't know. But I'm just saying, the till is, there's a bunch of things recommended. If we have time, we can read about it. But so fire yagya is going on, and they come and do that, and then after they've put out the fires, they land and they eat them. They kill them and eat them. So that really puts a damper on your ceremony, doesn't it? Can you imagine having to worry about that? You go to someone's house to do a wedding, you got to worry about someone showing up, putting out the fire and eating you because you're a Brahmin. So he would do that regularly as fun. Just kind of, hey, let's go create a little problem with the sages. So next thing is described here, the pastime with Vedavati. It was actually expansion of Lakshmi. She was performing her austerities there in the Himalayas. And he's flying around, and he was always very much attracted, being a materialist, to beautiful women. And he had no trouble with capturing demigoddesses and different people. And she's performing and he lands and says, oh, she's very, very beautiful. So he makes his move, tries some of his pickup lines and so on. They don't work. So he gets all upset, so he grabs her hair. Don't ever grab a woman's hair. Don't ever do that. Not that you would, but I'm just saying. So he grabs her hair to pull her, to take her, kidnap her, He did it with Sita also. And she took her hand, went like this, and just cut her hair. He was like, what? That was pretty amazing. Because she had told her, why don't you just go away? I'm meditating to get to find shelter at the lotus feet, to be the consort of Vishnu. He didn't like hearing that because he didn't like Lord Vishnu. And then when she did that with the hair, he got really, really upset. And he started approaching her, and she just went up in flames. But she cursed him. She cursed him first, that your demise will be because of a woman, your offense to a woman. Like that. And then he kind of like, that ruffled his feathers a little bit. So he gets back in his airplane. And it says he's looking, to fight with some demigods and so on. Somehow he comes to Mount Kailash. And Nandi, the carrier of Lord Shiva, greets him, and Nandi's taken a particular amazing form with the head of a monkey. And Nandi says, you can't come in here. This is the abode of Lord Shiva and Parvati. You're not allowed in here. He said, you don't know who I am. I'm Ravana. I can go wherever I want to go. He said, no, you can't. You can't come in here. He said, I'll stop you. So anyways, he pushes him out of the way, and he says, he said, just watch this. So he takes his arms and everything. He starts shaking Kailash Hill. And on top of Kailash is Parvati and Lord Shiva. And she actually stumbles and says, what's going on here? And Lord Shiva says, Ravana, my devotee Ravana, he's being a nonsense. And she curses him. And then Lord Shiva, seeing that Parvati's upset, takes his foot and pushes it down, and then the whole mountain comes down on Ravana's arms. And he's pinned. He can't move at all. And Lord Shiva said, you nonsense, what are you doing? You're disturbing us like this. He said, oh, let me go, let me go. So let me think about it. So he's stuck. I think it's went on for like celestial years. He's just stuck. His arms are all pinned under Kailash Hill because he disturbed Lord Shiva and Parvati. Not something you want to do. Then finally he relented and let him go. Like that. And Nandi, as he was leaving, told him, because at that time it was interesting, he had the face of a monkey, and he said, your demise will be by monkeys. He said, what are you talking about? And he just left. Then the next unfortunate circumstance that or offense he committed was there was a forefather of Lord Rāmacandra, the previous king of Ayodhya. His name was Mahārāja Daśaratha. Very powerful, one of those, just like Khatvanga, one of those powerful human beings who were so powerful they actually fought on behalf of the demigods. Very, very powerful. And usually Ravana made it a point not to bother with human beings because they were so insignificant. Very, very insignificant. Even in size. The demigods, actually, their natural size, they're very, very, very big. I heard a reference to a lecture I heard the other day that Sariputta figured out that Lord Shiva is the size of Europe or something, based upon that tree and this. And there's huge. The demigods, the whole boat of the demigods is gigantic. We're just tiny, like ants. Just like ants. Ants are completely, they're people, they got their whole life, but they're very, very small. So human beings are actually pretty small. The demigods adjust their size when they come to this planet to give us their association in the past. So anyways, Ravana didn't usually bother with human beings because it's just like there's no contest. There's no contest. They're so powerless and so on. It's just a waste of time. And as wars would go on, you would take wealth and so on from as the victor, but the human beings didn't have much wealth compared to the demigods. But still, he decided to engage in a fight with this king. And the big fight went on, and they held out for some time, but he annihilated all of his soldiers. And then Mahārāja Daśaratha was very upset with Ravana, and he knew he was going to lose. But still, he approached him and fought his best. And then Ravana killed him, and he was mortally wounded him. And as he's lying on the battlefield there, he looks up at Ravana and says, you're such a nonsense. And I guarantee you, I curse you, that you will actually be destroyed by one of my descendants, a human king. Confirmed. And then Ravana just laughed. He thought it was so funny. He just left. And it says actually at that time when he was flying back to Lanka, Narada Muni approached him. And he actually liked Narada Muni. Narada Muni is so kind, friendly to demons and demigods. And Narada Muni encouraged him not to bother human beings anymore because they're so insignificant. Just don't bother with them. And there's two more pastimes. One is Ramba. Ramba, a very, very, very beautiful Apsara demigoddess who was the wife of Nalakuvara, who we sing about for 1 month there. Very, very prominent demigod, one of the sons of Kuvera. He settled down. He settled down, married Ramba. Maybe it was one of the girls in the water, I don't know. But Ravana approached her and raped her. And the demigods saw it was Ravana. They couldn't do anything because he had already defeated Indra. So I mean, they would be killed. But what happened was Nalakuvara, after his wife came home and explained what happened, he cursed Ravana, that if he ever touches another woman like that, he'll die. And Ravana heard about the curse, and he actually thought, maybe I should be very careful. That's why he wouldn't force any other women after that. It was a curse of Nalakuvara. And the last pastime is quite interesting. He was given the advice, why don't you attack Yamaraj, the Lord of Death? Because if you can kill him, no one dies anymore. You won't die or anyone else. Someone gave him the ill advice to attack Yamaraj. So there's a whole long section in there about him going to hell and seeing all the millions of Yamadutas punishing people and all the screaming and yelling and horrible stuff going on. But he couldn't find Yamaraj anywhere. He couldn't find him anywhere. So he figured, well, I'll make some trouble. And Yamaraj will come. So he started killing all the Yamadutas, rescuing the people from hell. He had no compassion for these people, but he figured if I make a big enough stink down here, if you excuse the expression, Yamaraj will show up and solve the situation. So he's killing Yamadutas like anything and letting people go, and Yamaraj gets the call. You better come on down. Things are getting out of hand here. So he comes in, and there's Ravana. And Ravana goes, let's fight. Come on. And it says that on the chariot with Yamaraj, it's actually three personalities, like death personified, and all these really people you don't want to meet. Broad daylight, let alone a dark alley. So, and then they start this fight. Back and forth, back and forth. And then death personified says, let me just finish him off. And Yamaraj says, no, I'll do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. So there he is. Who's going to defeat the Lord of Death? But Ravana thinks he's going to do it. And just when Yamaraj is about ready to, I don't know if it was a spear or an arrow, to kill Ravana, Lord Brahma stopped him. I think Lord Brahma stopped him and said, don't do it. There's a plan. There's a plan. And then just Yamaraj disappeared. And Ravana thought he defeated him or something like that. So with all this going on, the demigods were pretty upset with he's wreaking all this havoc in the universe. They prayed. They prayed very fervently for the appearance of the Lord, that he would come and rescue them from this person who's just going all over the place, making everyone cry and creating all kinds of horrible, horrible problems. So that's what it says here. Being prayed for by the demigods, Lord Rāmacandra, Lakṣmaṇa, Bharata and Śatrughna appeared as the sons of Mahārāja Daśaratha. So this is one of the reasons they came. This is what is it? Paritaraya sarunam vinashaya cha duskritam. So he is definitely a duskrita, a rascal and a big demon. So Krishna comes to just take them out, creating too much of a problem. So it's 8:36. We can end here. If there's any discussion about the Lord's appearance in this world or any questions or so on.
I have a question.
Please, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your class, Dharmasetu Prabhu. In the Srila Prabhupada quoted from the Brahma Samhita, Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. So we hear from the Vedas all the time. That always strikes me as unusual, and I'd love to hear an explanation from you about why about the Vedas and why Atma Bhakto is superior.
Okay. One understanding is that the vast majority of Vedic literature is Karmakanda. Then the next biggest section is Jnanakanda. And only a very, very, very tiny section is about devotion to Krishna. Because most people can't understand it. Most people, they're absorbed in trying to enjoy the material world. So what do? You get people from wherever they're at and try to help them advance. So the vast majority of people simply try to enjoy the material world. So if somehow or other you can connect them with an understanding about how you can really enjoy in this material world is by being very, very pious, being very good, worshiping the devatas, offering respects to the Supreme Lord, you'll be happy in this world. Then there's a few of those who become understanding that's never going to make me happy. The material world, no matter where you are, is frustrating, and that's Gyan, trying to understand the soul and the spiritual platform. But still there's no devotion to Krishna. But when people receive the mercy of the Vaishnavas and become very, very pious, they become candidates for devotional service. And there's a very, very small section of the entire Vedic literature directed towards that, because it's only a very small section of people who have an inclination or understanding or the piety or punya, agyata sukriti, to engage in devotional service. So in that verse, the Lord Brahma is making the point, to understand and love Krishna, or to understand Krishna, it's only by bhakti. There's no other way you can understand Krishna. You can do all kinds of, you can follow the Vedas to be a pious person, you can follow the Vedas to achieve perfection in yoga, become a philosopher, or this or that, or whatever. But if you want to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and go back home by the Godhead, bhaktyamam abhijananti, it's by devotion. So this is Lord Brahma is confirming that. He's confirming that. Krishna's not impressed by our piety, he's not impressed by our gyan or yoga, he's really impressed by our love and our devotion. So that he's just confirming that fact. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
There's a few other things that can be said, but they're coming out in future verses, in the purports, about the pastimes of Lord Ram and so on. Yes?
Why does it say in the chapter summary that the Lord then Samudra came to the Lord with great haste and surrendered to him, the ocean, wanting to help him in every way. The Lord then attempted to bridge the ocean. Sounds like he didn't succeed.
Aren't you the editor? Didn't you write that?
I didn't write it.
Oh, I thought
I didn't edit it.
Okay.
But I will.
Yeah, he did. It worked. He did cross the ocean. Yeah. Okay. So we can end here. Yeah, if there's any questions, or, I mean, the time. Is everyone fasting this morning? Is there breakfast for the devotees? Okay. Ananda Vrindavan making an Ekadasi breakfast. Okay. But the Shatila Ekadasi, now this question came up, maybe you can answer it. Growing up in India, there in Mayapur and so on, what is it about sesame seeds that make it so special on this day? Yeah. Right. But why is that? Because it's not a grain. Is it something about sesame seeds? I mean, there is the pastimes. There's one pastime about that woman who just gave mud or something, and somehow she went to Vaikuntha, but there was no happiness and nothing there, so she came back down, and it was because she was so offensive. Something like that. And the sage said, wait till the demigoddesses come to your house begging charity, they'll explain to you. And about her observing the Ekadasi, then she went back to Vaikuntha and everything was fine. But it's recommended you bathe in sesame water, you rub sesame paste on your body, you give charity of sesame, and all these different things you can do with the sesame. It's a very good day. Now, I don't want to be self-serving or anything like that, but it's a really good day to give in charity to Brahmins and Vaishnavas. And that's everyone in the room, so I guess we should be like one of those Christmas parties where everyone shares gifts, like that. Everyone gives charity to each other, pick a name out of a hat. But it's a very, very good day for giving in charity to devotees and Brahmins. Cloth, water pots, sesame, like that. Yes?
Question for Ram. As far as I know, which I don't know very far, it is probably wrong, Shatila means 6. So where's the 6 seeds? What is it? Where does the 6 come in?
Well, he was mentioning that these different methods, there's supposed to be 6 different methods, purifying methods with sesame.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, that's what it is.
Look it up here.
What was the one you mentioned last time?
Let me just see here.
Something with bathing, something like 6 different things.
Yeah, there's actually a list here. The cow dung. There's a lot in the description. There's Shatila Ekadasi. But I remember seeing there's a list. Grow, mature. Okay, here it is. Here it is. I got it. Here we go. 1, bathe in water mixed with sesame seeds. 2, rub sesame seed paste on your body. 3, offer sesame seeds into the fire and sacrifice. 4, eat sesame seeds. 5, give sesame seeds away in charity. And 6, accept charitable gifts of sesame seeds. These are the 6 set ways in which sesame seeds till are utilized for spiritual purification on this Ekadasi.
Wow.
There you go, the 6 different methods that you mentioned. Okay. So do we get sesame seeds for breakfast or lunch? Better send a memo to the cooks. Okay.
I'll tell you, it's not easy to get sesame seeds around here. I went to Sprouts, they didn't have them in bulk. I went to Vaughn's, they had little jars for like $12 for like 2 ounces. What is this? So I finally called Sprouts in Claremont, because I got them there in bulk before, and said, yeah, we got them in bulk. So I went there and I bought several pounds. So if you need some sesame seeds to do this, I'm willing to give in charity some of those sesame seeds.
Okay. So if someone says you're worth your weight in sesame seeds, it means you're a very valuable person. So we can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.